All right, we are back for session number 3 tonight. Now, session number 3 is going to be a little bit different than we typically have been doing. This part is live, and then the session that Mike and I did, we actually recorded this last week because Mike's at Think Tank right now tonight down in Dallas, and he couldn't get to a computer to do this tonight because they're probably down there having fun. So I'm going to I'll be in the live chat here while we're watching this because we're going to watch it together. And if you have any questions or your thoughts, or if we're going to just talk about important things, we'll have our live chat going. Everyone take a bathroom break. Yeah, you guys all could do that. So we'll have a little fun there and talk about life in general. And we're going to be running the interview that Mike and I did, talking about shadowing DJs and what you can learn from them. And he's got a new product out that talks about, or I should say, shares that type of content with you, and it's pretty cool stuff. I'm not going to waste any more time. We'll get to it, and we'll be back here after this part of our show. Actually, you know what we're going to do before we get to that? Let's go here, and then we'll get to the interview with Mike.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Top Hits USA from RPM. Our name says it all. Get the latest hits while they're the hottest. With Top Hits USA, you'll have the track for sure. Visit tophitsusa.com or call 800-521-2537 and get a free demo.
Okay, so we're going to get to Mike in just a second, but that's the very first time I actually watched all of them together, as I've done it here. I've watched them through YouTube. It just reminded me of when you go to the movie theater, if you've been to a small movie theater in a small town, the movie house, and they run the ads before the movie starts. That's what it kind of almost reminded me of. This is Mike Walter here. The link for his website is down in the description below. You guys can check that out while we're watching that part tonight. Mike, thank you for joining me this evening.
Thank you for having me, John. I appreciate it.
This is a rare opportunity where we're able to come together and talk, and we don't have to worry about that nasty old chat room right now.
That's right.
But if you guys are out there watching this live, you can go and put comments in the chat room about this. I am watching the chat room, even though right now this is pre-recorded, but I'll keep watching the chat room and sharing and talking and answering questions there. But Mike, I wanted to get you on tonight, and your schedule is so busy that you couldn't be on live with us for Monday.
Right.
You've got a new product, and I don't want to say product because that's not, but a new educational opportunity is the way I want to say this for DJs.
Great. I love that. Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Basically, I'm going to go and stand on Mike's shoulder while he does a wedding.
John, it started out that way, and that's pretty much the first advantage that you get is that you get all 4 hours of a wedding that I DJ'd. So you can, like I've been saying, it is similar to shadowing me at a wedding. But even better than shadowing me at a wedding, because I've actually had some DJs do that. They come out, they hang out. That DJ could never interrupt me during the event and ask me questions because I'm too focused. I'm too focused on the event. And if they said, hey, Mike, why would you play this song next? Or what were you thinking doing that line dance now? I'd be like, dude, leave me alone. I'm working.
Yeah.
But so the advantage to this project is that not only do you get the raw footage, but you also get commentary from me. I break in and give comments every once in a while in video form, and I also put text on the bottom of the screen. So from time to time, you're getting a little running commentary from me and hopefully answering the questions that you might have if you were actually just, you know, kind of hanging out watching my wedding. So it is a bit like being on my shoulder, but also with a pause button that you could pause live action and say, "Hey, Mike, what are you thinking about here?" And I can add a little explanation.
So the explanations or the information you're adding to that. Now, where did the questions come from for you to say, "Hey, you know what?"
Well, they were questions that I predicted that somebody might want to ask. You know, I know programming is a really big thing. And I know when you go to see another DJ, if you shadow somebody, one of the things you want to pick up is programming tips, like, you know, playing 3 or 4 songs in a row, and why would he do that, and you know, why did he think this song would work here, and oh, I never thought about playing that song, or what have you. So one of the reasons why I picked this specific wedding that I wound up using is that I didn't have a ton of requests from the bride and groom. So I didn't want the question, or I didn't want the answer to the question, why did you play this song, to be constantly, oh, because it was a bride and groom's request. It was a bride and groom's request. So I think I had about a dozen requests from the client, which is reasonable, which means the vast majority of the songs I played that night were my own selection. So love them or not, at least I'm relying on the fact that, yeah, I played the song because I thought it would work, and here's why. So that's really one of the main questions, and then that I tried to answer. And then some of the other ones are, you know, my positioning on the dance floor sometimes. You know me, I'm the type of MC that gets in front of the table a lot. And there are, because we used a wide shot so you can see the entire room and the entire dance floor. And there are specific times where I point out, by the way, I'm standing on this side of the dance floor for this reason. I position myself here for this reason. So I predicted that might have been a question that somebody might ask. So I answered it.
So let's get back to the music programming. As you said, that's a huge area for DJs. Can you give us an example from the event on one of the music programming decisions you made, and kind of the commentary that you made about that choice?
Yeah. So, for example, and this comes down to, you know, preparation. I'm a firm believer when you get a request list, even if it's just a dozen songs, you owe it to yourself and to your client to put in some prep time and rewrite that list and kind of put it in an order that you're likely to play it at the event. Not that you're locked in, but that you might likely play it at an event. And for example, at this wedding, I believe it was Shake It Off and then Dancing in the Dark, a Bruce Springsteen request. And I listened to those songs prior to the wedding, and I'm like, oh, those two songs kind of go together nice. They're similar BPMs. I knew I could beat mix them together. I actually practiced it before the event. I was like, I'm on. So that's a combination that I played that I don't get a request for Dancing in the Dark that often, but it was a combination that worked, but it worked mainly because I had prepared for it and done some homework before the event, you know.
And a cool thing you just mentioned in that little part of it, you mentioned that you actually practiced the mix.
All the time. Yeah.
And here, for those of you out there watching, Mike is brand new to the DJ industry and must still need practice.
Yes. First year. Yeah,
First year. I mean, it's cool that someone who, and when we talk about practice and different things, but it's neat that here you have been in the DJ industry since it basically started. And you're still
not
out
that
there.
old, John. I'm close, but I'm not that old.
You're still practicing. I mean, I just had a young man in here today, and I've got 2 different stations set up here that are just for me to practice using different software and different things. I mean, it's something that even though we're over 35 by a year, we still are out there practicing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in my office right now, and in the office right behind me, we have a setup, and I often go in there, especially later at night when our neighbors are gone, and I can practice for some time. And then normally in between events, when I get home, when my weekend is over, I usually set my gear up in my basement. And, you know, my wife, Kelly, calls it having a little dance party. I'll go, honey, I'm going downstairs, and I'll bring the dogs down with me. And, you know, I'll practice for a half hour, an hour, just to, you know, and especially in the situation where I've got a combination coming up at a wedding that I've never mixed before, but that I'm not that familiar with. You know, I want to find my cue points. I want to practice making that mix, and I don't want it, you know, live to be the first time I've ever done it. If I can avoid that.
Yeah. That's such a cool thing, a neat aspect.
Yeah.
Let's slightly change gears a little bit. Now, we mentioned earlier that this is basically like a shadowing experience. And you mentioned that you have shadowed DJs and you've had DJs shadow you. Now, if I'm, say, someone who's kind of getting into it and I want to shadow a DJ, do you have any recommendations for how to approach others and set up the opportunity to shadow them at an event?
Yeah, I think you kind of have to get to know somebody. And I don't think most people are going to accept a stranger to come in and just shadow with them. So I think it's something that you start by developing a relationship. I think it probably would be better to try to shadow somebody or scout somebody who's not in your market. I'm a little bit more reluctant, even though with this product now everybody can have it, but I'm usually a little reluctant to invite my the guy down the street to shadow me. But if somebody wants to fly into my area and do something like that, we can talk about it. But yeah, I mean, I would say first strike up a relationship. And then I think one of the biggest challenges with trying to shadow somebody is working out a schedule, because, most of us are working on Saturday nights. So, how often are you going to have a night off when the person who you want to shadow is working? But if you can work the logistics out and the schedule out, I think it can be a really good thing.
Now, you've also shadowed other DJs. Now, when you have done that, are you just there to watch, or are you giving some feedback and critique?
No, I'd never give any feedback after or during an event. After an event, sure. And if the guy wanted some either tips from me or advice from me or suggestions from me, I would offer that. But I mean, when I'm there shadowing, I am, I'm not saying a word, because I know what it's like to be DJing a wedding. You're in your zone. I literally don't like to be distracted when I'm doing a wedding. It might not look like the wheels are going, but my wheels are always going. I'm watching the room. I'm thinking what I'm going to play next. I'm thinking what I'm going to say next. And even if somebody like sometimes I'll work with an assistant, and halfway through an event, they'll go, "Hey, did you see the new Batman movie yet?" And I'll be like, "Dude, I'm sorry, man. I can't talk about that right now." Because I'm kind of focused on that event. So yeah, if you're going to shadow somebody, I would say you really just need to stand in the background and watch and get into it. I mean, I don't want anybody back behind my table who looks like they're bored. So clap your hands and smile and get into it, but don't bother me with questions. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Nice. So you talk about what, kind of standing in the background. What is, as far as to decide attire, how have you handled that when people are going to come and shadow you? Do you say, this is what I need you to wear, or?
Yeah. So we have that conversation. I usually wear a suit at most of my weddings. Sometimes if it's a little bit less formal wedding, we do some, beach weddings, I might step it down from there. But we always have a conversation because I want that person to be dressed appropriately. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Yep. And because this is an area I think Drax and I have actually had this conversation that a lot of DJs are finding interest because of people like yourself talking about it. And I think with this resource out there, that's going to become even more incredible to really kind of whet that appetite for people wanting to go and shadow.
Yeah,
so.
I can see that. But like I said, John, when I started working on this project, I thought this can actually be better than shadowing. I really do, because I do believe that, because of the logistics, you can buy this video and watch it on a Tuesday afternoon, as opposed to taking a Saturday night off and coming out and shadowing somebody. So you're getting the perk of, you don't have to have a Saturday night off to watch this. And again, you're getting that perk of, I'm not just watching somebody's wedding, but I'm actually listening to their commentary. And it's somebody, with, as you said, lots of years experience in the business, more than I want to admit,
So as you're going through and you were doing the commentary and looking at it, now were there some times as you're going through and you're asking yourself, why did I go there? And thinking the hindsight thing where you're like, I could have gone, instead of going left, I could have gone right at this time, and it might have done something different. Did you find it?
I talk about this in the intro to the project. This wedding, it was not a perfect performance on my end at all. And maybe that's too high of a bar anyway. I don't know that I've ever had a perfect performance. But as I went back and watched it, I almost changed weddings at one point, because I was like, there's probably 3 or 4 moments in this video where I stubbed my toe, where I feel like, I could have really done better there. I didn't edit any of them out. I left them all in. As I say, it's warts and all. I'm not embarrassed by my performance at all. And I certainly got a rave from the client. So everybody was happy at the end of the day. But, I often say, if our weddings were movies and we could go up, take 2 and do a moment over again, we probably, there's going to be a number of moments at a wedding that we would do over and get it better the second time. And yeah, there are a number of those moments in this video, which again, I think is a great learning experience. You got somebody like me who's been doing this since the late 80s and, a couple thousand weddings under his belt. And I still have moments where I go, I could have said that better. I could have done this differently or that differently.
And I think that's a great point. You said that you got rave reviews from the client, and they were completely delighted, because we've had the conversation. We are sometimes our harshest critic, and we're looking at things in a way in which, like, oh my God. And yet the audience could be completely oblivious to it.
Right. Which I think is it's good to be your own harshest critic as long as it doesn't hold you back and debilitate you. As long as you don't say, well, I got to get out of this business because I'm just not good enough. It's great to constantly be looking at yourself, and especially if you record yourself and go back and look at footage of yourself and pick it apart and say, I could have done this better, I could have done this better. But again, even though there are a couple of warts in this video, overall, I'm proud of my performance. I think it was a pretty solid performance, and the client raved about it. So I'd be an idiot if I looked at this at footage like this and said, "Oh, I made one or two minor errors, so I should quit." I mean, that's not the point. The point is to just improve it, to use Randy Bartlett's terminology, 1%, and kind of take it up a notch.
And I applaud you for leaving those things in there, because that's real life. None of us have a perfect wedding. There's always little things that we look back, no matter how good or how experienced we are. And by having that out there, you're showing that, hey, I'm a real person too. And
I'm human. I'm sorry. I think if you watch the raw footage, you will that will be one of your takeaways. That Mike doesn't walk on water. He's as human as any of us. I mean, there was one mix in there that when I went back and listened, I was like, it's not quite a train wreck, but it's definitely a train going off the track.
It was a slight derailment.
It's not a complete wreck. So yeah, I mean, but I left that in. I didn't record over it. I didn't try to dub over it. I said, but there's also a bunch of mixes that I was really proud of. So yeah. I think that's pretty much what you get when you perform live.
Yeah. Sounds like a great tool for someone who's just getting into the wedding area. They're going to be able to get a lot of insight. And even those of us who've been in it for many years, it's always cool to hear another professional talk about the decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I started selling it Monday. This is gonna be on Monday night. So it's been a week now that I've been offering this, and a number of people have already put reviews online and are saying good things about it. And not just first and second year, newer guys, but veterans in the industry who are saying, similar to my Keys DVD last year, they're saying this is not 101 stuff. It's advanced, and it's stuff that we can all, no matter what our experience level, learn from. And that's something I've always wanted to put out. I don't want to just talk to the newbies in this industry, but I want to be able to put something out that a guy with years and years of experience and an excellent MC who just needs to maybe get an idea or two to get from here to here can learn from.
Yeah. Great stuff. Great stuff. If people like to find a spot to order, where can they go to check the whole process?
My website is DJ Mike Walter. And if you want to get directly there, you can go djmikewalter.com/a-wedding-with. And check it out from there. You can order right off the site. We've got the flash drive. So we're actually shipping this on a flash drive this time around for two reasons. It's over 4 hours of footage, so that would not have fit on a single DVD. But also, it was pointed out to me last year that the DVD technology is kind of getting outdated. And then I had first-hand experience with that, because when I was in Mobile Beat back in February, or was it March this year?
March.
Joe Bunn put out a DVD, and it's great. And Joe Bunn's marketing DVD is great. But he handed me a DVD, and I couldn't watch it because I had my laptop with me. I couldn't watch it until I got back to my office. So we're offering this. You get it on a flash drive. And, so you can plug it into a laptop, you can plug it into a desktop computer, or you can even plug it into any of the new TVs nowadays that stream video right from a flash drive. So it's pretty convenient.
And we're only a couple of weeks away from DJ Expo. Now, if someone
I'm getting excited.
Finds you at DJ Expo, are you going to have some of these resources available for them?
Yes. Yeah, I'll bring the Keys DVD. I don't know how many people don't have that one yet. That sold pretty well last year. But I'll have the Keys DVD in Atlantic City, and of course, this new video. Yes, we'll have them there and available. And I am speaking. I don't have the exact time yet, but I've been told it's on Monday. So if you're coming to Atlantic City, Monday, August, what is that, the 15th, I believe, is the first day of the convention, and I will be speaking that first day. Looking forward to it.
So we'll wrap up. They're going to do a little pre-show talk here with DJ Expo, and then after DJ Expo, you and I will be getting together and talking, kind of rehashing.
A week after, we're doing another one of these. I love it.
Yeah, just to talk. So we're, Josh, just about a month, little less than a month away. Let's talk about the different activities you're going to be doing. You're going to be speaking on Monday sometime. What else are you going to be doing with this year's show?
Well, Monday night, I will be hosting the Monday Night Mobile Party, which is we just get together a couple of hours and a few mobile DJs get up and do some routines. We also have a track act coming in this year who's a hip-hop guy, and he's doing kind of an old school medley from what I understand, which should be fun. That should be a nice kind of break in the action from the routines. And then on Wednesday night, I'll be hosting, and John, can you believe it? This is my 15th year in a row.
Holy cats.
I know, 15 years in a row. I'll be hosting the DJ of the Year competition, and as always, that's just one of the absolute highlights of my year. I just love doing it. It's a thrill for me. So that'll be in Atlantic City on the final night of the convention, which is Wednesday. Again, I think that's the 17th. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be that's always a popular event. It fills the room, and a lot of great ideas for entertainers out there, because you're able to see some people using the routines that they use at their events up on stage.
Yeah, my goal since day one when I've been putting this competition together is to make it a fun night, to make it a good competition, because I want everybody to actually be into it as a competition. Who's going to win? Did I think that person should win or shouldn't win, or blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, I want it to be an educational night as well. I want the DJs who are in the room to walk away with some good, usable routines, whether they're dances or games or what have you, and go, okay, I had fun, I enjoyed the competition, but more importantly, I've got stuff that I can bring home and actually use starting this weekend. And I think we've done that each and every year. And speaking of games, we have a lot of games this year. I think I've got 9 finalists right now, and I believe we've got 4 games entered. So there's going to be some real cool new ideas thrown out there between dances and games. I think it'll be a fun night. If you're in Atlantic City for the convention, make sure you make it to the competition. And come Monday night, too, because that's always fun.
Where's Monday night going to be held at?
So it's in the Black Box Cabaret, which is which is a private room in the Scores Gentlemen's Club in the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, and during the show, they must...
You are not exposed to strippers at all.
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
avoid boobies at all costs if you try. Yeah,
you don't have to try
see
very...
boobies if you want, but you can avoid boobies if you don't want to see them.
Yeah, exactly. There's
Right.
I've been in those rooms with the different events, so yeah.
Yes, John.
Yeah, exactly. There's
We don't want anybody to be offended and see a boobie that they didn't want to see. So there are ways to avoid it.
And I'm the naive one. I go in and I went into the DJ event and did everything and walked out, and it's like, so what were they all upset about? I mean, it just seemed like a bar to me. It was there's nothing beyond. And over there is the gentleman's side. Well, like I didn't pay attention to that. I was going to look for the DJ activities and the contest.
And I'll tell you what, of all the rooms we've done the competition in, it's got the best sound system, it's got the best video system, and it's high tech. You know what I mean? So I love it. The pole in the middle of the stage is a little gets in the way sometimes. But other than that, I think it's been a great room for us. This will be our 3rd year in the Black Box Cabaret.
Yeah, and it's a nice area there. It's within just walking down the hall, which is so nice when it comes to these.
Yeah, exactly, and that is a great thing in at the Taj Mahal is all the seminars are there. The showroom floor is downstairs. The evening events are right there, so it is very, very convenient as opposed to things being spread out like sometimes they have been.
Before we let you go, one last thing beyond the activities you're involved with at DJ Expo. Give me one more thing that you are really looking forward to with this year's Expo.
Well, I haven't seen all the seminars, so this is going to be kind of a preliminary. But I have to give you 2. I can't give you 1. Steve Moody, his all-star MC, is always great. He's got a panel, I think, this year of 5 or 6. I know Joe Bunn, my partner in the PhDJ, is on that, and I know he'll give great content. So I always look forward to that. Steve, he keeps it moving. He gets a bunch of guys up there, but only gives everybody, 15 minutes or so to speak. So the ideas really come at you rapid fire. And then again, I don't know what day he's speaking, but Keith Kokoris, so I know KC, from Chicago, is doing a marketing. And I don't think there's anybody better in our industry to talk about marketing than KC.
He's got this year. He's adding a social media marketing twist to it.
Right.
So it's he and we've spent a lot of time actually. We've been talking about different social media aspects, and this man, when he finds something, he becomes a student of it.
Yeah.
And the difference between some people who are students of it, they learn a lot, but they don't. This guy learns about it, and then he applies it in the real world, and is successful with it. So that's a highlight.
I'm sure once I see the seminar schedule, there will be others that I will say, oh, gotta attend this one, gotta attend that one. But for now, if you're asking me a month out, those are the two that I'm aware of and that I'm really, really looking forward to.
Yeah, as am I. Yeah. Those are two that on the top of my list also.
Right.
I'm really excited. So, Mike, thank you very much for your time. Once again, the website
Thanks for having me, John. I appreciate it.
Give them the website one more time, please.
So head to djmikewalter.com. And if you want to go directly to this newest project of mine, / a wedding with, and you can get information and order right off the site.
That sounds great, Mike. We'll see you at DJ Expo.
Thanks, John. Have a good one.
So that was stop that. Yeah, that's what happens when I'm listening to the preview. That was the interview with Mike Walter from last Friday. He and I shot that one. He is down in Dallas and such, doing his things down there. So we're going to go to the next show. We just put the link up in the chat room so you guys can go there. We'll be back with the DJN TV crew talking about some of the big topics and big news of the week. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.